Continue to decline. What are the fundamentals? Where are the prices headed? For that conversation, we are now joined by Peter McGuire from XM Australia. Peter, hi. The Delta variant of COVID the number seems to be increasing, and then markets are reacting to the factory and the manufacturing numbers from US and China, which also have been on the weaker side. And we seriously have seen declines continue for many of these metal prices from the kind of highs that we saw in the last week of July. The first week of August hasn't been really able to hold on to that. I want to start with copper and aluminum, where we have seen profit taking coming in. What are you watching? What's your price sense?
Well, good afternoon, Manisha. A couple of things. First off, I agree with you, and then we've seen a weakness across that sector, 9,500 for your copper price, and it seems to be dragging down. We're down 1.5% on that Comex. You've got aluminium back at that 2,500, 2,550 sort of handle. So first off, it can be, yes, weaker numbers. The COVID issue, I'm just noting that the China, they're really locking the place down as far as major issues there rolling forward. So that's not going to be a good sign from a consumption point or a manufacturing point and demand. So there goes an issue there that could impact prices and create softness over the next month or two. The uncertainty, of course, is how does COVID play with all of that, Manisha?
But Peter, the fact that we're looking at deficit for many of these metals for the second half as well, something like a copper and aluminum perhaps might really be looking at that. Would you say that it's the near-term phenomena? Fourth quarter, perhaps, when the demand really picks up, the supplies wouldn't be enough?
Well, you'd be right on that, Manisha, but the unknown is, of course, you know, the COVID story. And whilst if China ratchets up and it becomes far greater an issue come, rolling into August and September, then that could create further downdraft across that whole sector. And how the fourth quarter plays is really no one knows. So that's where we're sitting at the moment. Many traders are sitting on their hands, just looking at, the opportunities out there and which markets to, brace yourselves and possibly, from an attraction standpoint, where can you make a dollar?
And that really seems to be the case for other commodities as well. We were trading at a 4-year highs on nickel in the last week. We've come off sharply from there. Steel prices have declined. Iron ore is trading below $200 per ton, and that seems to be impacting zinc also. What's your sense for many of these metals? Do you see support anytime soon?
Well, Manisha, remember that they get exhausted to the upside, and I think a lot of those markets were exhausted, and it just becomes a point in time that there's a correction phase comes on for a short period. It could have been restocking of inventories. All of that build up, that hot air gets taken out of the market. It deflates a little bit and comes back. We're also I'm keeping an eye on what's going on this week as far as the NFP numbers coming out Friday. Where's the UK play? What are the storylines coming out of Eurozone? All of those big picture themes need to be considered, and that really gives me an understanding. What's the storyline with Biden and his infrastructure plans rolling forward? That's really from a demand side. Is that going to engage inertia moving forward, or are we going back with the COVID lockdown phase, Manisha, of looking at softer prices for a continuance across 21?
But Peter, anywhere that you see a buying opportunity for copper, for example, there are those Chile wage negotiations now happening, 40 of them slated for the second half of this year. Do you see the individual fundamentals working for some of them?
Well, you do, Manisha, because we're well down from that 11,000. You're sitting there now at 9,500. So, if you hit a 93, 92 handle, you'd have to say it's a buying opportunity. It's back 20%. So it's, that's a fairly heavy washout in a couple of months. Looking at some of those other metals, as you said, nickel, having a look at aluminium, that could get dragged down as well. So they get to a point that they become, a technical trade. If the fundamentals change, and we're not in a lockdown phase and China rebounds and things are looking more rosier, then I'm sure that the demand picture and price will get washed across it, and you'll see an uptick very quickly.
All right, so there's going to be a bit of a volatility going there, uncertainty, yes, but some of these metals perhaps could see some buying, as Peter tells us. With that, it's back to you.